everybody an overview of what we're going to talk about today. Here is the agenda. Um, Obviously, Azure is a very broad spectrum of services. So we're going to cover off a number of topics here. Again, if there's anything specific that somebody would like to see outside of this, by all means, if you want to request that in the chat, and we can look to set up something more bespoke. So my name's Steve Rudd. I'm an account director for Exquitec in the UK. I've also got two of our Azure team joining me today. I have Ellie, who's our infrastructure director, and I've also got Cassandra, who's an Azure solution cloud architect. So from myself, what I wanted to do was I wanted to start by saying that something that might surprise you. Most charities don't think they use Microsoft Azure. In fact, many would say that, oh, we're too small, or we're not technical, or that's just a big corporate product that we don't use. The reality is, if your charity is using Microsoft 365, so that's Outlook, Teams, or SharePoint, or you use Microsoft Dynamics, or anything to do with the Power Platform, or you're starting to explore Copilot, you are already using Azure. It's already running underneath your charity today. So Azure isn't something you're being asked to adopt. It's already the foundation of what you're using. So the question for charities isn't should we move to Azure? It really should be, are we getting value, resilience, and the intelligence we should from the platform that you're already using? So just some information in relation to Azure within the charity sector at the moment that some of you may or may not be aware of. Most charities don't realize that there is an annual $2,000 Azure grant that's available to you every single year. So Microsoft provides $2,000 in Azure credits annually for any non-profit, allowing them to run production workloads at no cost at all. Most charities that I speak to are not even aware of this and don't utilize these free credits. So in addition to that, Microsoft also offers a free Azure onboarding concierge specifically for non-profits. So it's not widely known, but non-profits can access a dedicated Azure onboarding support service at no cost. That includes migration, planning, and setup guidance. So if anybody's interested in any of these offerings, by all means, reach out afterwards and we can connect you with people within our team who can assist. There's over 1,000 not-for-profits that are already using Microsoft Cloud and Azure for AI-driven mission improvement. So AI, hot topic of conversation at the moment. And Microsoft has documented 1,000 real not-for-profit transformation stories, many of which involve Azure AI, fundraising insights, delivery programs, and just general operational efficiencies. So charities can gain enterprise-grade security and compliance at such a low cost. So Azure automatically provides compliance with strict global standards that charities could never justify independently. So these things include stuff like GDPR aligned solutions and enterprise grade data protection. This is the sort of thing that you generally find used by sort of major banks. So Azure is a backbone for the Microsoft Cloud for not-for-profits. So powering things like analytics, donor insights, and volunteer management. So although many charities know of the 365 discounts, not many of them realize that Azure sits underneath this stack, as I previously mentioned. So Microsoft have also got a pay-as-you-go model, and this prevents overinvestment. So anybody who's going to potentially look to use an Azure solution can go to something like pay-as-you-go to restrict spend. We know in the charity sector at the moment there's real challenges from a financial perspective. So a pay-as-you-go option can sometimes be a good option to take at a starting point. So unlike on-premise systems, Azure allows charities to scale only when you need. So for example, if you had a winter campaign or a certain appeal, you can scale up and scale down the service as and when you need it. Finally, Azure is already helping charities with AI. So Azure is AI ready. So it's helping non-profits predict fundraising trends, optimizing resource allocation, all of this through the Microsoft Cloud. So charities can use predictive algorithms to understand things like donor patterns. They can forecast, they can look at campaign performance. So this is an area where lots of charities are starting to look at and take advantage of Azure. So why are we in a position where we can talk about this product? So I work for an organization called Exquitec. We are an end-to-end Microsoft partner. As you can see, we're a global organization, so we've got over 1,000 clients within the Microsoft Cloud and over 200,000 seats within Microsoft Cloud. In Europe, Middle East and Africa, we are Microsoft's largest partner. And I would say one of the things that stands us out from other organizations is the fact that Microsoft, you can see on this slide on the top right-hand corner, they have 6 baseline solution accreditations. We hold all of those. In addition to that, we have a number of advanced specializations. So we have true technical expertise across the complete Microsoft stack. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hand over to my colleague, and we're going to dive into more detail around Microsoft Azure. Thanks, Cassandra.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. Hello, everyone.
Oh, sorry, Ellie.
Yeah, no worries. I'm Eli, Infrastructure Director at Exquitec Group. My focus is on leading our cloud and enterprise infrastructure strategy across Azure, hybrid environment, and service network architecture, and everything related to migration from on-prem to Azure and from any cloud provider to Azure. So we will start by Azure services model. And the first question that comes to mind is why businesses are moving to the cloud. So a very common reason companies first get interested into the cloud is a fault tolerance. By definition, fault tolerance is the ability of a system to continue operating without interruption when one or more of its components fail. Here, system can be a compute, network, or a storage or cloud cluster. Second reason, cost saving. So moving to cloud technology enables you to save both space and cost. Previous, you have to pay for on-site services. With the cloud, you pay cloud provider to handle the data center and other resources rather than hosting the server in-house on your own. Third one is globalization. So this is another common reason for cloud adoption. As your business grows and expands beyond your home borders, it makes sense to have resources and services close to those new markets that you want to reach. It can be for regulation reasons or maybe performance reasons. Another reason why companies move to the cloud is agility. In a simple definition, agility is the ability to respond to changing needs. You can get access to that equipment in a matter of minutes, and you can get your results in days instead of months. And the cost will be low compared to other ways. So here, for example, a real example, if you want to run a new application and you need the specs for the server, RAM, CPU, disk, a new server. On the cloud, you can do it immediately. You can create the server, and in a few minutes, you can install your Windows OS and deploy your virtual machine. But in your data center, if you need a new server, you need to order the server, and you need to wait for delivery for 1 month, 2 months, and then you start installing the driver, application, network settings, firewall policy, everything. So this will take time. So this is the agility example. Another reason companies adopt to the cloud is scalability. So scalability in cloud computing refers to the ability to increase or decrease IT resources as needed to meet changing business demands. So the pay-as-you-go model of cloud providers enable to have the flexibility and the ability to scale up or scale down depending on your business needs. And this also saves cost because you will not use the full specs for example, if you are not, you don't need 64 giga RAM, okay, you use the only needed for your application. So you don't need to pay for example, 64 giga RAM. So this is another example of scalability. The last one is improved data security and AI. So data stored on the cloud is encrypted, making it safer than other hosting solutions. In addition, since cloud technology is updated frequently and newer than older data center, cloud hosting companies can keep up with the latest cybersecurity threats while offsite servers are more at risk. So what is the purpose of mentioning all these features? Because all of them are available in Azure Cloud. So what is Azure? Azure is a cloud computing platform and service offered by Microsoft. It provides a wide range of cloud services such as virtual machines, database, storage, networking, and more, which enable organizations to build, deploy, and manage applications and services through Microsoft data center around the world. So now let's focus on the services model. Azure offers 3 services models: infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. So let's start with the infrastructure as a service. Infrastructure as a service lets you provision individual VMs along with the associated networking and storage component. Then you deploy whatever software and applications you want onto these VMs. This model is the closest to a traditional on-prem environment data center, except that Microsoft manages the infrastructure, you still manage the individual VM. The platform as a service provides a managed hosting environment where you can deploy your application without needing to manage VMs or networking resources. For example, here, Azure App Service and Azure Container SQL Managed Instance are considered as a PaaS services. The last one is a software as a service, allows users to connect to and use cloud-based apps over the internet. Common example here are email, Office 365, Dynamics 365. So here the SaaS provides a complete software solution that you purchase on a pay-as-you-go basis from a cloud service provider. So here, if we need to compare these 3 models, in the data center, if the customer has fully data center on-prem, so he's responsible to manage everything from the hardware, from the data center, cooling, power, networking, storage, till the application layer. The difference between the on-prem data center and infrastructure that Microsoft will manage the data center and the hardware and support of the hardware till the virtualization, and the customer or partner is responsible to manage the operating system till the application. So here, this is the main difference between the services model. And of course, we have a migration tool that help us to migrate any workload or services or resources from on-prem to Azure, even if the application is running on a physical server or virtual server, maybe it's on VMware or Hyper-V. or physical server, all this type of resources can be migrated using Azure Migrate. So I will now hand it over to Cassandra to continue with the next session. So Cassandra, please go ahead. Cassandra, we can't hear you. I think you're mute.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Cassandra Atalla, and I work as an Azure Cloud Solution Architect. My role is to help organizations to design and implement cloud strategy. So now we're diving into the heart of cloud infrastructure, focusing on 3 key pillars that make everything run smoothly: compute, networking, and storage. When we say compute, we're talking about the power behind running applications and services in the cloud. Think of this as the engine of your cloud setup, the brain that processes data and execute tasks. At the center here, we have the virtual machine. Think of it as is your personal computer, but in the cloud. It gives you flexibility and control over an operating system, application, and data, all without a physical hardware. Then there's Kubernetes. Now, Kubernetes orchestrates your containers, making sure that your applications scale up or scale down efficiently, stay healthy, and recover automatically from any failure. If you've got lots of microservices or cloud-native apps, Kubernetes is your best friend. Moving on to Azure serverless computing. This is a game changer. Why? Because it lets you run code without provisioning or managing servers. You just write your function, deploy it, and Azure handles the rest. And here you pay only for what you use. It's a super cost-effective and scalable. And last in this group is the remote app, which allows you to run applications on the cloud, but use them on your device as if they were local. Remote app is great for ensuring consistency and access across devices. So compute is where the action happens, processing and running your business logic. So now let's discuss networking. Networking is the nervous system of your cloud. It connects all your compute and storage resources securely and efficiently. Starting with the VPN gateway, this is your secure tunnel into the cloud, especially if you want to connect your on-premises network or remote user to your cloud environment safely. It ensures your data flows privately over the internet. Then we have the virtual network VNet, which is like your private, isolated cloud network. You decide the IP address space, subnets, routing rules. It's your own little cloud neighborhood where your resources can communicate securely. Then we have the Azure Load Balancer. It's critical too. Imagine you have lots of users hitting your app concurrently. So here, the load balancer distributes incoming traffic across multiple servers to keep things responsive and avoiding overloading. And last, the network security group NSG. These are your cloud firewall, defining what traffic can flow in and what traffic can flow out of your VNet, subnets, or individual virtual machine. It's a must-have for protecting your environment from unwanted traffic or attacks. So networking makes sure everything talks to each other properly, securely, and efficiently. Finally, we have the storage. Storage is where your data lives, whether it's files, database, backup, or queues for processing. Blob storage is designed for storing large amounts of unstructured data. For example, images, video, backup, or any kind of binary data. It's highly scalable and cost-effective. Then we have the file storage, which offers shared file system accessible via standard SMB protocol. It's perfect when you want multiple VMs or services to access the same files in a traditional file share manner. We have also the queue storage. It's vital for building reliable, decoupled application. It lets you store messages, helping you build scalable and fault-tolerant system. And finally, we have the disk storage. Provide persistent storage for Azure virtual machines, similar to a hard disk drives. So together, these storage options handle all type of data, keeping it accessible, secure, and ready for your applications. Okay. Because in IT, we don't plan for success, we plan for failure. And that's exactly where Azure Backup comes in. Now let's look at Azure Backup as a powerful service that helps you protect and safeguard your data across different environments. It is a centralized, secure, and scalable solution designed to protect data, whether your workloads are running in Azure or even on premises. So as mentioned before, your workloads might be running directly in Azure or in a hybrid setup like Azure, Azure Stack Hub, Azure Stack HCI, or even fully on premises. So Azure Backup support backup key assets like virtual machine, Azure file shares, and SQL Server workloads running inside Azure VMs. Some of the main and most important benefits includes automated backup policies that reduce manual effort and ensures backup consistency, data security through encryption and strict access control to keep your backup safe. And finally, we have the long-term retention option that helps you meet regulatory and compliance requirements. So Azure Site Recovery. This slide shows how Azure Site Recovery helps protect your environment by replicating it to Azure, ensuring business continuity and disaster recovery in case of any failure, outage, or disaster. So we have the primary sites, which represent the on-prem data center. It includes different tiers such as web tier, app tier, GP tier, and Active Directory. Azure Site Recovery replicates these workloads from the primary site to Azure. The initial replication will be complete, while subsequent replication will only transfer change. So it helps with optimizing the bandwidth usage and minimizing costs. And for the connection between the on-premises primary site data center and Azure is done through site-to-site VPN, which provides a secure communication for replication. And finally, on the right side, we can see the Azure secondary and recovery sites. The replicated data is stored in Azure storage and run in infrastructure as a service VM. But these VM are only started when a failover happens. This means you only pay for the storage and memory. You do not pay for a full compute resource unless you need them during a failure or when you need to activate your site. If the primary site goes down, we can trigger a failover, and Azure brings up the replicated virtual machine with a minimum downtime. Azure VMware. Now let's talk about Azure VMware Solution or AVS and why it's a powerful option for organizations already invested in VMware. At a high level, Azure VMware Solution allows you to run your VMware workload directly on Microsoft Azure. That means you don't need to refactor or redesign or re-platform your application. It uses the same VMware stack, vSphere, vCenter, NSX, and vSAN operated in Microsoft Managed Azure infrastructure. So what the diagram shows here is a full VMware environment running inside Azure on dedicated bare metal hosts that are not shared with other customers. The VMware components remain exactly the same, while Azure services such as backup, security, monitoring, and networking integrates around the environment. So this setup connects to the customer's existing on-premises VMware environment, enabling hybrid deployments. With Azure VMware Solutions, customer can run VMware workloads on Azure exactly as they are, with no redesign or replatforming. Because the infrastructure is dedicated, AVS enterprise-grade performance, isolation, and compliance, while letting customers continue using the existing VMware tools, skills, and licenses, including vCenter, NSX, and HCX. The customers typically choose Azure VMware solution when they want a fast path to the cloud with a minimum risk and zero application change, while still they benefits from Azure native capabilities. SAP on Azure. SAP on Azure and why this combination has become one of the most trusted enterprise transformation platforms globally. When we talk about SAP, we're not just talking about infrastructure hosting. We're talking about running mission-critical SAP workloads on Azure, fully supported, certified, and optimized for performance. First, the SAP workloads and performance. So Azure provides purpose-built virtual machine designed for SAP workloads, including SAP HANA. That means high performance, high memory capacity, high IOPS, and low latency, which is critical for ERP systems, financial transaction, and real-time analytics. So this makes your core business system run smoothly, even under peak load. Third, we have the scalability. One of the biggest challenges with traditional SAP environment is hardware limitation. On Azure, you can scale up or down based on demand. You scale when needed and scale back when you don't. Fourth, we have the security part. SAP system contains some of the most sensitive data in the organization: financial record, HR data, procurement, and customer information. So Azure provides enterprise-grade security, compliance, certification, identity management, encryption, and threat protection built into this platform. Then we have the integration. So Azure allows seamless integration between SAP and other Microsoft services, such as analytics, AI, data platform, and productivity tools. This enables intelligent insights, automation, and enhanced business decisions making. And finally, we have the cost effectiveness. With Azure consumption-based model, you reduce large upfront capital investments. You optimize resource, improve utilization, and benefit from reserved instance or hybrid benefits if you already own licenses. So instead of simply hosting SAP in the cloud, Azure enables you to unlock new business value from your SAP environments. Azure Arc. Azure Arc is a Microsoft service that extends Azure management and governance beyond the Azure cloud to include on-premises, edge, and multi-cloud environment, such as AWS, Google, Microsoft. It provides a single control plane where organizations can consistently manage servers, Kubernetes clusters, and data services using Azure tools. With Azure customers, apply the same security policies, compliance control, and monitoring across all environments, regardless where the workloads are running. This delivers centralized visibility, stronger governance, and operational consistency across the entire hybrid and multi-cloud state. So Azure Arc extends Azure control plane to on-premises, edge, and multi-cloud environments, allowing organizations to manage all their infra from a single plane. Through the Azure portal, customers can view and manage servers, Kubernetes clusters, and database consistently, regardless of where they run. Azure Arc also enables consistent security and governance by applying Azure Policy, role-based access control, and Microsoft Defender for cloud across all the environments. In addition, it allows Azure services such as SQL, Managed Instance, and PostgreSQL to run anywhere and support modern DevOps and GitOps practice for Kubernetes. Overall, Azure Arc simplifies hybrid and multi-cloud operations while maintaining centralized control and security. Azure Local brings a true cloud-style infrastructure directly into the customer's own data center or edge location. What this means is that organization can run virtual machines, container, and selected Azure services locally, while still managing everything centrally through the Azure cloud. Because Azure Local is fully integrated with Azure Arc, the on-premises infrastructure appears inside the Azure portal, just like any native Azure resource. So from an operation perspective, there's no differences. So customer use the same portal, the same API, the same automation tools, and the same governance model across both cloud and on-prem environments. On top of that, Azure Local provides centralized monitoring, health management, and lifecycle updates directly from Azure. So this ensures consistency, compliance, and operational control across hybrid deployments. Deployment is flexible as well. Customer can run Azure Local on validated partner hardware, or in some cases, leverage existing support infrastructures, giving them flexibility without losing the Azure experience. So in short, Azure Local enables organization to run Azure services on premises while maintaining full Azure governance, visibility, and management through Azure Arc. Now we will talk about Azure AVD. So Azure Virtual Desktop or Azure AVD is Microsoft's fully managed cloud platform that delivers secure Windows desktop and applications from Azure to any device anywhere in the world. This is not traditional remote access, it's a modern desktop strategy. So instead of installing operating systems, application updates, and security control on every single machine, everything runs centrally in Azure. So the desktop lives in the cloud, not on the device, so user can access a full Windows desktop or just the applications they need. That flexibility allows IT to tailor access based on roles and departments. One of the key advantages is multi-session support. Multiple users can securely share the same virtual machine concurrently. So, reducing infrastructure costs while maintaining performance, especially for Microsoft 365 workloads. From a business perspective, this enables secure work from anywhere. So employee can access ERP, CRM, finance system, and line of business application, whether they're in the office or at home or traveling. It's also a modern replacement for traditional remote desktops. So instead of managing on-prem server and hardware refresh cycle, Azure handles the infrastructure. Many people think you need to buy something new to use Azure Virtual Desktop. So the truth, most of the organizations are already licensed. They just don't know it. To use Azure Virtual Desktop, users need an eligible Windows or Microsoft 365 license. If your user have Microsoft 365, E3, E5, F1, A3, A5, or business license, they're already covered. No extra license is needed. On the Windows side, eligible users include those with Windows 10 Enterprise or E3 or E5, Windows 10 Education A3 or A5, or a Windows 10 VDA per user license. So even if your users are connecting from non-Windows device, for example, from Mac OS, iPad, or any personal device, so they can still access Windows Virtual Desktop as long as they have. So Microsoft 365 license or Windows license, that means licensing is user-based, not a device-based, and that gives the user the flexibility for bring your own device environments and remote work scenario. So now let's move to Windows Server Desktop and applications. If you are publishing Windows Server 2012 R2 or newer desktop or remote app through Azure Virtual Desktop, then RDS car licensing rules apply. To be eligible, you must have an RDS car license with active software assurance. How does Azure pricing actually work, and what really drives your cloud cost? First, it's important to understand that Azure operates on a consumption-based model. What does that mean? It means you only pay for what you use. There's no upfront infrastructure investment and no hardware purchase. Your cost is directly tied to your actual consumption. Things like computer hours, storage uses, network traffic, and the specific service you activate. If workloads scale up, costs scale accordingly. And if workloads scale down, your costs decrease. Now, Azure also offers full flexibility through pay-as-you-go. There are no mandatory long-term contracts. You can start small, test, scale, and adjust based on business demand. However, if you have predictable workloads, for example, core system running 24/7, Azure allows you to optimize further. Through reserved instance or saving plans, you can commit to 1 or 3 years terms and reduce costs. So now let's talk about what actually impacts your bill. Pricing depends on several key variables. First, the service itself, a virtual machine, a database, storage backup, each has its own pricing structures. Second, we have the pricing tier. Higher performance tier naturally cost more, but they also deliver higher performance. Third, the region. Azure pricing changes depending on where your resources are deployed. Choosing the right region can impact both performance and cost. Another important cost driver is data transfer. So inbound data, meaning traffic coming into Azure, is for free. But outbound traffic, data leaving Azure is charged based on volume and destination. And finally, we have the license. Certain services, like Azure Virtual Desktop, may require eligible Microsoft license depending on your current agreement. So now I will pass the session to my colleague Danielle, who will be presenting the Azure Virtual Desktop demo.
Hello everyone, my name is Daniel and I will be demonstrating a live demo on Azure AVD. Okay. So first I will start with the admin part where the IT admin will be managing and assigning permission for users that will be working on Azure Virtual Desktop. So first we have a host pool. In the host pool we can deploy the virtual machines that will be selected for Azure Virtual Desktop. Once it's deployed and configured here, you can check the status of the VM when domain checked and all the services related. From the host pool itself, there is a part which is called application group. From this part, all the applications that will be utilized by the users can be found here. It can be manually configured from here, and the permissions will be assigned on each application by itself. So if a user needs to access the full session desktop, which is this one, it's from the assignment part. Here it can you can add a user or a group of user instead of adding the users manually. And same will reflect for the below applications. Now I will jump to remote desktop client. So users can sign in by two methods. Either remote desktop client, which can be installed from Microsoft Store, or from web access. So from remote desktop client, you just only need to sign in with your user. Okay, this user uh, has permission to utilize these application, AutoCAD, Chrome, Notepad, OneDrive, and WordPad, and he has a full access to the virtual machine. So we'll start with the virtual machine itself, the full desktop. As you can see, it's a normal Windows 10 operating system with Office apps installed on it. And for Teams and Outlook, everything can be controlled from the portal. Also, you can allow the user to copy and paste, or you can disable this option from the properties of the host tool itself. I can show it here. Okay, so you can allow microphone redirection for Teams calls and camera as well. You can disable clipboard to disable copy and paste from their desktops to the AVD. So, and if the virtual machine is joined to local Active Directory, the GPOs can be applied as well on all the session hosts. Okay, for let's test this one. Okay, for these applications, sometimes organization doesn't want to allow the users to access the full desktop, so they want them to access certain application. That's why using AVD, you can publish only the application that is required by the user. Also, you can force the user to sign out. Yeah, I believe this one is restricted to Chrome. Let me just try WordPad. Just 1 second, and it will sign in. Okay, as you can see, the user can only access the application that's assigned to his workspace here. Same for WordPad as well. So if you want to assign, if an organization want to assign a certain application to the user, it can be done from the workspace directly instead of assigning a full access to the session desktop. Okay, and that's it for from my side. Let me know if you have any question on the demo.
So I think everyone, that's everything from a demo perspective. I don't know if anybody else had any questions that they wanted to ask specifically about Azure at all. I can't see anything in the questions and answer chat. So yeah, I think we've concluded for this particular session. Like I say, there is funding available to charities, $2,000 a year that you should all be taking advantage of if you're registered as a Microsoft charity partner. If you want any help or advice as to how you can obtain that, by all means, feel free to reach out to us. But that's everything for today's session. So thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.